the stream. Welcome to your monthly water tribe report. This is the Peace Dealer, okay? And this report is for Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Progressed natal chart, either or, y'all, whichever one resonates with you like that, okay? Yeah, that being said, welcome. Good day. We're closing out our tribe report series for Taurus season. And yeah, I think this was a pretty fun week. In about another couple of days, we will have the new moon in Taurus and kick off this Taurus season transit, baby. So yeah, other than that, I do feel like a lot of how for water signs especially, this Taurus season will play out is a very, concerted, powerful element of grounding a lot of the emotional and psychoanalytical, depth that you had activated during your seasons prior or will subsequently activate. Earth is your ops, or Taurus in this case is Scorpio's op. And this is going to be the air houses for, of course, Water Gang. Divine Rights, welcome to God Squad. Thank you for joining us. Of course, the monthly exclusive pick a card readings and exclusive tarot readings are God Squad exclusives. Of course, when I open the app, it'll all be, once you remember the app, you'll get access to all that. But yes, we're gonna go into this, and yeah, that being said, once again, if you have your progressed placements here, shout out to y'all watching from Instagram. Okay, Cancer rising, Scorpio rising, and Pisces rising. Cancer sun, Scorpio sun, Pisces sun in your progress chart, natal chart. This will be for you. Okay, so we're going to start with Cancer. Cancer, Taurus is your 11th house if you're a Cancer rising. Cancer sun, it makes a 300 to 330 degree angle to your sun or moon of rewards, okay, of results and rewards from your career, okay. Hopes and wishes, circle of friends. Classic example of this, let's say Kanye West is a Cancer rising. At some point, when the North Node was in Taurus, he wanted to build his own city, right? Which you can think of as an innovation and manifestation of one's own community, individually defined. So he wanted to create a city that was individually defined around him. That's Taurus as an individual in this collective 11th house, representing the value and wealth you gather around you in the form of support, in the form of wealth from those who actually add value to what you do to build your legacy, okay? Especially with the Jupiter in the 12th house and this expansion of your subconscious connection with the angelic realm, something that when the North Node was in Gemini did a number of unlocking, all right? This expanded channel will be innovated the rest of the decade with Uranus spawning radical isolation for you to actually release any sense of imposter syndrome, release this collective gaslighting mechanic with a reinforced society that wants to really dull your psychic senses and potential by, of course, framing your external environment and perspective as contrary to what you intuitively feel in an effort for you to distrust yourself. All right. Saturn and Venus coming out your ninth house with the North Node is unlocking this crystallization of your third eye, and how through the vehicle of your imagination, you're in a position to realistically see beyond the physical and apply that analytically through your third house of Virgo, matching what's metaphysical and unseen with facts and some element of logic and reasoning, bridging both worlds. Okay. Combining form and substance. And now, since that period, since 2023, that protocol is complete. So now that Mercury is in Aries, Neptune is in Aries, and subsequently Venus will be in Aries at the end of Taurus season, and Saturn will get ready. Everything is set in place to prepare for you to now become more of an authority figure when it comes to taking the necessary actions needed to actually step into success and be the original defining indicator of said success. So, of course, that retrograde period through Pisces was reevaluating your beliefs around what you achieve and the philosophical approach that opens up more that you believe you can actually do. And now you're taking those actions. Mercury is wrapping your thinking and brain processing around communicating who you are achieving this. Venus is going to polish opportunities, but Neptune is what's going to get ready to transcend this outside the realm, let's say, of what you thought is possible. And this is where now you're revisiting a lot of what previously, and this applies to other signs, people told you was delusional, people told you wasn't real, but they were weak and thus projecting their, fear of their own beliefs being wrong on you because they never really had substance in the form that they were dick riding. They wanted to really practice a form of godliness versus you who may not need dogmatic, traditional, instructions in order to tap in directly and connect to source. Okay. So with Jupiter coming out of your 12th house, getting ready to go into your sign in Cancer, this is going to begin to once again release outdated thought processes around beliefs about who you feel you are. It's going to align more this higher divine vision of what everything means around you and how you move forward with that. And Taurus season is grounding through this new and full moon who is in your corner, who naturally innovates the wealth you're coming into. All of this is going to prepare for Leo season, where you're going to break through into more liquidity and wealth and courage. Everything that Mars in your second house is actively having you stand for and not back down on the creative function of your value. Okay. And now with Pluto in that 8th house, which I'm glad you said you had a little spiritual support, that could be this distrust from others who mischaracterize and misjudge who you are and what they think you do, especially in practices like psychic arts, spiritual businesses, with people who operate off of hearsay and may, of course, conflate people who may be fraudulent versus people who may actually be real. With the 12th house Gemini, with the Aries, with the Taurus, you are remembering that it's the other way around. The burden of proof isn't on you to prove yourself as legit. It's always been on them to prove that they know anything about what you do, which they don't. Your work with which speaks for itself and is original in its pioneering nature, especially healers with Chiron in Aries, attaching healing to your legacy, attaching this self-defined respect that can't be influenced or manipulated by others who want to put it in their box. dislikes, which can cause other people to dislike you, especially Pluto that has been in Capricorn opposite your sign, looking at the collective attempt to force their traditional framework on you, with which it is impossible. And so instead of looking in the mirror, they project on you. Transits like this now moving into Aries, through just you aligning yourself with what you're meant to do, is going to serve as a functional clapback without you even having to directly lower yourself and go back and forth with those who it would be going backwards to even try and like prove yourself to. And that's a very important thing, that once again, Jupiter coming out of your 12th indicates surrender. And if you're too caught up in your head trying to figure everything out, forgetting you're psychic, and you really, without inductive or deductive reasoning, discern situations before they happen, the more faith you have in your own innate abilities, the more through Taurus this is going to ground and you're going to be receiving these rewards. Remember, this 11th house transit is a fulfillment of everything since last year, June, that you actually activated. So everything you did from the last summer, now you're coming into a position to manifest the rewards of how you have exalted what original actions since last year you have unlocked to fulfilling your career. Everything you were meant to do to set yourself in that position, that Saturn will now solidify. And it's through the Saturnian fulfillment where you'll be tested the most as you're defining your legacy. And if you allow the doubts from other people to creep in and influence what you do, you're effectively, through Pluto and Aquarius, giving away your power. Instead of with Mars and Leo buckling down and fighting for your true worth, not by having to go back and forth with people, but by just continuing to do and stand firm in what others are discouraging you subconsciously and psychologically to do. These beings can only call you names and try and evoke fear into you, which only comes from people who are fearful inside. No one who's secure in themselves needs to engage in such manipulative practices, with which they may just do subconsciously because they are frail on the inside. Weak ass little bitches. That being said, okay, like we see here, by the time the moon, you know what I'm saying, is full in a sign like Scorpio, and Venus has now moved into your 10th house, this is going to prepare accordingly for a very powerful element of now polishing everything that is authentic and that you love about what you're achieving. And this is what's going to, as we pass the new moon in Taurus, bring a lot of traction as the cardinal Aries is wrapping your brain with Mercury and heart with Venus around what you have already been aware of you have done Aries season. All right. The sun in Aries was you applying your consciousness towards, okay, I'm getting all this done. Now Mercury is going to return and revisit, okay, this is what I've done. Venus is going to dust and polish it up. As Neptune transcends it and Saturn does the construction, Gemini season, while you're developing your attitude towards constructing and solidifying this, okay? The conjunction with Uranus in Taurus can bring unexpected windfalls of income, as you know, these new moon cycles that activate more groundedness in these friendships, in these connections, will serendipitously and unexpectedly connect you to everything that is aligned with your destiny. And remember, this is fulfillment. So if you're listening to people who are lying to you and telling you that there's anything you need to do in order to gain their affection, their love, their respect, then their respect is fugazi, okay? Your value already speaks for yourself. The presupposition that you haven't already established this is deceptive in an effort for you to give your power away and trick yourself out of your position. And now when people are forced to acknowledge this truth, that's where their true character kind of breaks out of. And you will be effectively mollywopping all sort of bullshit as Jupiter will eventually go into your sign and really level you up. That's where in this 12th house surrender period for Cancer, It's testing not just your faith, but everything you have realized and awakened about yourself. Okay. Where these external influences seek to shake that up, you're due for a major evolution. So, are you going to give in to this seemingly sense of pressure? Or are you going to surrender knowing things will more than work out for you? We're seeing this with Elon Musk, who people are saying, oh, he's going out of business. We're seeing this with Shannon Sharp, who people are saying, oh, he's done. No, this is the calm before the storm. This is Jupiter before their first house, which is going to break them through in this period of darkness where it looks like everything is falling apart. That's supposed to happen with Jupiter in the 12th house because it's releasing the previous cycle that you were in before, especially since 2012, 2013. Okay. So really make it count for yourselves as you're going to manifest these rewards, right? All through Taurus season, and really now see how these values with which you allow others to be around you, what values do you stand on that others align with these values? How well do you not shift and compromise where Taurus really demands a stubbornness? And your willingness to really bet on yourself moving forward is going to secure victory very powerfully. Okay. That being said, we're going to step into Scorpio. Scorpio, we know that Taurus is your op. Okay. Taurus, given its opposition, represents the harvest and grounded quality of your interpersonal relationship actions and quality with other people, how you manifest wealth and value towards others and with others. Okay. So the Uranian opposition at its worst can represent unexpected, activity from open enemies who veil accusations towards you or shift people's opinion towards you. But it could also represent unexpected wealth established through people. So unlike Cancer, who is fulfilling the completion of the transit since summer, since November of last year, Scorpio is harvesting everything that you have transformed about yourself since your birthday. And now 6 months worth of development, where within those 6 months, Pluto has entered Aquarius, started the cycle. We had the eclipse in your fifth in Pisces. You began to integrate all of that in Aries, the authentic approach of now how you align what you unlocked last year relative to how you're meant to live your life. All of that is integrating naturally into, okay, how does my behavior impact other people? How is everything the past 30 days I have fine-tuned relative to my routine and my health and my behavior, which in Aries is meant to not only be original, but with Chiron, we're tying in healing, self-healing. We're flaring up any behavioral habits and negative patterns we want to actually align until October. How am I going to take what I just said towards others? Like Aries season is a great season where, okay, I'm going to start working out. This is my workout routine. Now, when I go into Taurus, how are the effects of these workouts allowing my increased health to manifest more quality in relationships? How are the relationships the new moon will activate and harvest in the full moon in your sign get in the way of these habits? How do I have to shift these partnerships so that my habits don't be compromised? And who in these relationships are supporting how I'm developing my behavior? Okay. Of course, what this will eventually lead to back to Scorpio season is the, updated transformation of how this innovation of partnerships has affected you in 6-month cycles. But because we're going to have the conjunction at 27 degrees Taurus, right, near the end of this transit, what this is fixing to do is now provide this final innovation of wealth through other people, especially with Mercury, that will now apply and integrate, wrapping around your thought process around, okay, this is how over the last 30 days I have decided I want to live originally. I want to actually integrate these health habits. Now Mercury is communicating that to other people. Your brain is catching up to your consciousness, while the sun on Uranus is being put in a position to start this final 365-day cycle that by the time it comes back around, it will be in your 8th house in Gemini. And we will now start to radically innovate these complex trust issues that Jupiter has not only expanded, but has set you up for wealth as far as investing in other people's ideas, intimately engaging with more people you can trust that won't leak your conversations online because they wanted to share, your DMs. Okay. Because y'all been getting exposed that way. And, maybe you should just stop trusting people even more. But that being said, once again, with the North Node unlocking this sense of your own creativity, Venus that's going to apply this creativity towards now polishing these health issues, concerns, and behavioral elements is going to beautify what you've already constructed last month with your lifestyle. Okay. Venus is just going to tweak it as you're applying this awareness towards other people. Okay. Now, Mars in your 10th house of course, career is having you ahead of time take social action that prepares for you to achieve success. So let's say come August, you're going to be on stage. You know what I'm saying? You're going to actually express everything you're manifesting with others now to achieve your goals. You're going to be aware of your achieving it. Let's say you're going to be on stage. You plan to really give a huge speech, right? Sharing your successes in August. Now that Mars is in Leo, you're already at the venue. You're already taking action to prepare the event, to actually connect with the people who are going to be at the venue. Now that the sun is in your 7th house, you're inviting the people who you want to book at that venue in August. So this is how you're not only taking action ahead of time, but with Pluto in your 4th, you are having to balance this extremely uncomfortable awakening of your comfort zone by having to get out your comfort zone in ways that perhaps tempt you to hold yourself back because you don't want to challenge yourself, maybe by putting yourself out there, maybe by confronting some things, true or false, that with your boldness and courage, just being present and showing up can solve without you even having to say or do too much. Okay. Pluto can also represent enemies in your hidden life or stabilizing forces that add more intensity and passion with this deeper awakening of knowledge within your own private world, the universe that you keep within, so that will be the awakened, knowledgeable, extreme, intense aspect to more passionately achieve your goals. And that T-square really with Taurus is testing who are you partnering with that really balances both polarities. Because leaning forward either or towards your public persona or private persona won't really ground that balance necessary for you to move forward. And if you're too caught up on what other people think, it's just going to really riddle and really stifle your focus moving forward. Okay. I would say other than that, yeah, with the South Node in Virgo, this is preparing for that eclipse in September. That's going to unlock this analysis of how everyone has been supporting what creative projects you're working on since March. This definition and crystallization of maturing your inner child and really buckling down on what you really love to do, what you really want to really produce moving forward. And that's where Jupiter in the 8th, Saturn the 5th really hook up self-employment for those of you who want to move forward doing something you're passionate about or really believe in. Okay. Another thing to keep in mind is the 7th house action here coming out of the 5th with Pisces can develop romance, right? The focus on Aries is also aligning while Venus will go through there. How do prospective romantic potential align with your lifestyle? Is this someone who you can work out with? Is this someone who you can do day-to-day routines with? How do they clash with that? How do they challenge that? How do they support that, right? Challenge for better or for worse. This is what's going to really kind of weed out or align more with what kind of supports where you're headed. All right. Of course, given that Taurus is your house of open enemies for you Scorpio risings, this could be a showdown that's going to have you take the past 6 months of activation and integration and see if the integrity with which you've generated breaks you through, or you break down through the pressure. All right. Only thing you might need to watch out for is that unpredictability with Uranus, that if you're moving in integrity, you will have no reason to worry about. It's going to align with you. If you're not in integrity, it's going to put you in check, maybe in embarrassing fashion. But regardless, I think this is going to make up for a bountiful harvest through Cancer season, where Jupiter will eventually be in your ninth house, rising star year, July 2025 to July 2026, which will now, of course, prepare you for Jupiter in the South Node in your 10th, unlocking this evolution of success that will fulfill and complete what you started since 2018. Okie dokie. Last but not least, I know it seems I'm breezing through the water. And shout out to the Fox Wellness Den. The first words you said when I clicked on your live, bet on yourself. I love that. So, Pisces, the beyond diabolical fishies. Okay. I knew something was up once again when I just didn't hear much from you. You guys have been definitely just kind of low key. Not to say in your perspective you've been, but just collectively. Wouldn't be surprised if y'all just come out the woodworks now. I'm realizing and suspecting maybe a lot of your silence was because before anyone else really realized, the universe kind of let you know the fate of humanity and the universe. And some of you have been weeping. Some of you are like, good riddance, it's about time. Some of you are indifferent. And now that all of this perspective and stellium is phasing out of your sign, it is getting ready to apply in Aries the direct value of your worth. Pisces, you are an entity, never mind your identity. So as a collective universal consciousness with extrasensory perception, looking at reality from beyond the veil, right? This now dissolves this ego, because you are effectively a reflection and divine mirror of everything. Unlike Aries, which is the I am, this gives you your own original sense of value and worth. And that's where Chiron in the second has been overcoming this need for you to prove your worth. If you're a Pisces and you're proving your value, you got the whole game wrong. People may not ever be able to understand what you're operating with. And we're not talking about fraud seeds. All right, we're talking about the legend Pisces who has integrity. Saturn has been testing the integrity of your own being and how you embody these belief systems. So Pisces out of integrity is the fraud, and Pisces in integrity is the legend. Okay. And this is having you apply this testing through your own self to now produce in the actions authentically you take to manifest your own value. You're going to have a perspective beyond everyone. So what you know your worth is what you know your worth, even if other muggles can't see it. They don't know that you charmed that staff. So that's why you charge 300 extra bucks. It doesn't matter if they say that's pseudo. They're a normie. Like, insult them. Be petty. That's very horrible advice. But regardless, don't necessarily shortchange your own value because other people refuse to see into it when you're actively demonstrating its worth. And that's where that ego is necessary in Aries, where that's where you want to flare up when it comes time to stand on what you're worth. Because the Aries second house that Venus will polish and Mercury will really communicate is now integrating with Mars in Leo to strengthen that potency in Aries with energy to integrate how creatively you can fuel the belief of yourself into how you socially live and integrate that, once again, creatively. So the opposition of Pluto in your 12th is very dangerous because this can represent unconscious beliefs influenced by the entire collective to almost gaslight you out of your supernatural confidence in yourself. And if you give away that power to them because it has to fit within their limited box of understanding, you will effectively be shortchanging yourself and ridding all the work you've done to get to this point. The purpose of this opposition is so that if you get too much in your ego, the collective can put you in check, but you can allow other people's doubt to really make up your own subconscious thought process, with which is expressly beneath you. So Pluto in the 12th is meant to awaken extraordinary realization of the supernatural potential of your divine being. Pisces, you are a being in perspective that science has yet to catch up to, the entire realm of metaphysics. Scientists are still barely understanding dreams and oneironauts. So you have been a pioneer just by existing. Okay. And that's where aligning with the factual analysis of Virgo bridges both worlds, so that you are not imitating form without substance, which would be fraud. Many of you are all substance without form, which is why you appear invisible to other people. But the South Node in Virgo is unlocking this form in order for you to transcend your existing belief in yourself. And that's where Taurus season is grounding the quality of this remote control of your physiological senses that universally control your matrix. Okay. And it is the body language stemming from the natural grounded values that innovate your attitude and mindset that will produce through your attitude the tangibility of your formless divine nature. Pisces, you lead forth with presence. So you are the definition of be, then do, then have. And that is a formula that a post-materialist reductionist society that cracks the whips on people to run this hamster wheel will purposefully pretend not to notice, so that you give your power away. And you instead should stand on your worth and value and not allow other people to influence you what to do, as you are the eternal invisible influence. Taurus, once again, is bringing tangibility to the invisible nature of your very being, relative to, of course, once again, now that the Aries second house, all the actions you've taken Aries season to manifest this value through October, you're strengthening the quality of, relative to how you communicate this value through your body language, through, of course, how you carry yourself. Okay. And that's where, once again, the square to Pluto in Aquarius is going to release these outdated traditional bullshit that you've been conditioned by your society and family to believe in, that was never true. This stupid belief that, oh, we just follow this religion because that's what we do. Oh, we just follow this social custom. This is why you're antisocial in nature and seek escapism, because a lot of shit is bullshit that people just do as unspoken social agreements, where you seek to be the final change post innovation of Aquarius to shift into these new cycles. All right. And you're supposed to trigger and piss people off because of their inauthenticity, as they attempt to gaslight you to accept beliefs that have never been aligned to who you truly are. Okay. A lot of people really are just dumb and stupid, and you may enable their stupidity because of just your kindness alone, because of the divine potential you see through and in other people. You know what I'm saying? You keep on smacking people with your aura, because now Taurus is going to produce this tangibility. And with Uranus that's coming out of Taurus, what this is going to feel like for all the signs, but you're going to have the highest perspective of, since 2010, since 2018, it's like you've been doing a jutsu, right? You've been doing a jutsu, and it's looking like nothing has been happening, but everything has been happening. The vision I have for you, Pisces, and for everyone, but that you have a higher perspective of, when people look at your plant that you planted, it's just one shrub. You know what I'm saying? It's just a tiny shrub. And you've been just painlessly watering it, nurturing it. You waited. It took so long for your shrub to break through the ground. By the time your shrub broke through the ground, other people had built trees. And like, people are laughing at your shrub, like, that's it? That's all you got? You know what I'm saying? And you were excited. It was like, oh, there's a physical evidence of this. This was like 2018, where it's like, oh, this isn't conceptual. Like these synchronicities I've been seeing, there's something tangible. And now if you were to take X-ray vision and look at the roots, right? Those people with those trees, those roots just go down only so far. You have built an underground mausoleum because all of that work you've done to do this technique has been internal. If you were to look at beneath the shrub, your roots extend all the way down to the core of the earth because the tree you're building grows slower. Pisces, the way you age is slower. You're able to go years and mature much slower than people who will grow old and wither very quickly. So when a hurricane goes through and all of those who sprouted up those trees quickly, you know, their foundation only goes so much. They're being thrown away through the hurricane. When all is said and done, you calmly got through that hurricane because you're so rooted, nothing can shake you. And now that Uranus is going into Gemini to produce the effect, what looked like nothing was happening is just going to happen over and over. You know how you try and do something over and over? You know how you press a button, right? And it's like, oh, it didn't work. Oh, it didn't work. And you press it 6 times. And then all of a sudden, now the button is clicking 6 times. Like, let's say you're opening an application and it didn't open, and you clicked it again and it didn't open, and then you clicked it again and it didn't open, and then you clicked it a 4th time, and now it opened 4 times because there was that lag of processing where it's like, oh, it didn't pick it. You thought it didn't pick up the first 3 times you clicked it, but it did. You just didn't allow it to. You didn't know it was still processing, whether through delays, whether there's so much more you have to integrate, because you're a universal consciousness. You integrate an entire universe where certain people will just integrate certain experiences all at once. So this is getting ready to build a world tree. Your tree extends to the universe because you've had this root, and your timing isn't like every other people's timing. That's what Saturn was testing in your faith. Okay. And it's prepared you accordingly. So you're going to start to see more than enough evidence of what you've been doing intangibly that was always tangible, because it's not like it wasn't working. It's that it was burrowing underground and it's getting ready to blossom with more fulfillment than ever before. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this water tribe report. I know this is much shorter than the other reports. We are going to reconvene tomorrow with the cosmic energy tune-up. All right. Once again, I do have my 70% off sale for anyone who wants any readings. My tarot readings are $15. My 15-minute reports are just $30. Okay, so go to my website, thepeacedealer.com, for those of you who would like to take advantage of that. Allow people to get you wrong. Allow people to misunderstand you. You are a treasure that they don't deserve. That's why they're trying to undervalue and get discounts, thinking that, you know, they can in any way influence you. And it's pretty much the other way around without you even having to do much. Okay. And other than that, you guys stay blessed as always. And until next time.